Hi everyone, I'm Michael Buffington. This is Technical Earth Syndicate episode 9. How you guys doing?
Good.
We watched E3 this week. Finally!
Yeah.
Awesome!
Yes.
We're going to go through this. This show is going to be all about E3. I want to let our listeners know that ahead of time. And if you're expecting Alan's Tech Corner and any of those other kind of things, we're not going to have them. It's just going to be strictly E3. Next show will be basically our normal schedule and with some new additions and stuff like that. We started off with E3 on Monday this week was the Xbox conference, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I did not know what to expect. Now, the last podcast, Chris and I discussed that Nintendo and Xbox and PlayStation 3, what our thoughts were on those actual conferences, like of what we expected and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought Microsoft would steal the show.
Yeah, I think I said that it was either going to be Microsoft or Nintendo kind of running with the whole show.
Right. Okay. Now we'll give our what we thought of the shows after we go through the list that they had. But starting out with the Xbox show, the very beginning, what did they show? Halo 4.
Mm-hmm. About what? 4 or 5 minutes of gameplay?
Oh yeah, they first started out with the CG gameplay or the CG, and then they went right into the gameplay of somebody playing it. Actually,
yeah,
it looks really interesting. It's one of the few that I really want to get. You know, personally, those kind of shooters don't always get me, but I think Halo 4 is going to.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that it actually looks really good, considering, you know, a lot of people with who follow Halo are pretty devoted to Bungie, I think, and so this is like the first game in the actual series that wasn't like a spin-off or like a remake of the first game that 343 has been doing. So it's interesting to see where they're going with the story.
No, I was a little, sketchy because I followed Bungie for a while too, but I actually think these new guys that created the new Halo might actually pull it off and actually make it better. I've already been hearing lots of reports about the multiplayer being completely different, and the graphics look phenomenal on my part. I
thought they look really nice.
They look great. I mean, they showed like a detailed version of the grunt moving, and it was all like, it looked real, kind of like a cinematic, while you're playing, kind of. Yeah. So, pretty cool stuff. After that, their conference for all the sports fan, they had FIFA 13 announced on there, which they showed off some gameplay, and now that's also going to be using the Kinect. So at the beginning of the show, they instantly wanted to throw in Kinect stuff. So
yeah, and with that, they also did something about Splinter Cell Blacklist a little bit before that with the Kinect too.
Well, I mean, first it was like FIFA 13 they announced, and then Madden 13 they announced a voice chat, and it basically they had a Joe Montana on the show, which was actually kind of cool if you like football. Yeah. And they had him voice commanding the team like he would, in regular football. So they had that, and they showed off some of the Kinect controls. Now, how accurate that was, I don't know, but it was. That's one thing about the Kinect. Like I wish they use it for video games a little bit more instead of just using it for voice chat. But it is a cool little feature, that you can do with games.
I did think it was really cool on FIFA when they sat there and when the guy made fun of the ref or whatever.
He cussed out the
ref, yeah. The bad call. A few seconds later, you hear the ref pulls a flag on him just because of that.
And they're like, "Oh, the audience didn't like that," and you heard like a bunch of boos. They're like, "Boo!" Now I don't even like FIFA. I don't really like sports games.
No, that sounded cool just to have that interaction there.
Right. So they got some cool things after that, and after the sports segment with Madden and FIFA, they showed off another trailer of Fable. Was it Connect? Fable Connect?
It's like Fable was a journey or something like that.
Right.
It's called The Journey, yeah.
They showed that last time at E3 last year, and it was pretty much the same. They had no more information on it, and I was a little disappointed on that. Now, when I first saw the first trailer last year, I didn't have a Kinect, and I was like, oh man, the Kinect looks kind of dumb, and that kind of stuff. And now I own one, and I don't know if I want to play the Fable game because I'm used to them being like a third-person, game, not a first-person rail kind of shooter. So
Yeah, but the more details on that have come out since then, since the trailer they showed during Microsoft,
Right.
is it's more of a, you actually have a leveling system. You have stats and skills you can up. You can cast spells with your voice, not just with your hand movements.
Right. I've seen that.
You can throw things out and have them come back and hit a guy behind them, like shoot a magic missile and then control it. So some of the things you can do with it is pretty cool and entertaining. But then again, it is a rail shooter type game, which kind of takes you in one direction.
Right. Now, if they price it decently, I might pick it up. Now, maybe it'll be an Xbox Live Arcade game, for $15 or something. That'd be cool.
That kind of thing. It seems like it'd be better as an arcade game.
But I see Microsoft trying to sell it as a $60 game on release.
But they did say it's about 15 and 20 hours of gameplay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is kind of impressive for a rail shooter. So
now the next thing after Fable was Gears of War Judgment. Now Chris knows a little bit more about that game. The trailer was awesome though that I saw.
Yeah, they didn't show too much with the trailer for the Microsoft conference, but there is a little bit more information than what they showed. They have obviously they have Baird, and I believe they didn't show Cole in the trailer, but he's definitely in it too. It's a prequel to the first game. So I'm thinking it's around, like, right after Emergence Day, and then it's going to lead up to probably Marcus being imprisoned by the end of the game.
Right, which that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard it was actually right at the transition from the war they were fighting with humans when Emergence Day happened. And so they had to, the way the guy described it, it was kind of like America going from, World War II to Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's completely different war. So
now, is it going to be the Pinnacle Wars chapter? Like, I mean, they wrote about that in the book. It's like right before.
I think that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, I think it's Pinnacle Wars right before. Well, that's right before the first game. That's before Marcus gets in prison. They kind of go into that in Gears of War 3. Now, I'm not going to ruin anything for any people that haven't beat Gears of War 3 because it was an awesome game, but it was the very end of that game. Like, they had to do a prequel, so.
Yeah.
In order if they wanted to, tell more story for it. Next up after that was Forza Horizon trailer they showed. Now, if you're a Forza fan, that's really cool. I'm not a big racing fan, but I know those games have a lot of potential with the graphics, the gameplay, the custom cars, you name it. So that's great news for racing fans, especially since it's kind of a realistic racer. It's actually I'm Forza, and PlayStation has Gran Turismo, so that's kind of like how they differentiate that. So they were talking about a Bing update for voice searching and everything, and they're supposed to be adding new languages to connect. And Bing for searching.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of new TV apps coming out too. Like they have Nickelodeon and what was it, Comedy Central? I think they have one.
Yeah, they had a bunch of the television apps. Now, I'm wondering how that actually works. Like, do you have to be a subscriber of a cable company, or if they can actually give it to you for free? Because I was on my Xbox last week, and I downloaded Anime Channel they had on there.
Oh, yeah.
And you can actually watch free anime on there, which I thought was cool. Now, the quality isn't quite HD because I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it was just the day that I was looking at it. But
it's a brand new app. I'm sure they'll update it pretty soon.
But it looks like they're going to be adding a bunch of new apps to the Xbox market, or the App Store on there, the free App Store anyways. And then they also had sports apps and everything for all the people that like to watch all the sports, and a lot of free stuff
NHL,
too.
NHL, right? NHL was the big one they were throwing up there.
Right. And they also wanted to make sure that, some of these are like free based, like not free based, you kind of have to be a Xbox Live Gold subscriber. Now, if you own an Xbox, you already should be, kind of, Yeah.
I have a feeling that the TV apps, like the Nickelodeon and what have you, I think they're going to probably be like the HBO Go app, where you have to have an HBO subscription. So I think that...
But see, that's another thing, that HBO Go, you have to pay for a subscription plus your cable when you have it on TV.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. Like with the Nickelodeon one, you'll have to have your cable subscription linked up along with your HBO Go. It's like the same kind of thing.
What if they don't do that? What if they kind of give it to you for free? Maybe Nickelodeon has a partnership with Xbox where they show their shows for free, which would be awesome for me.
That would be amazing.
Right. That would be awesome because I have a kid, and if she can watch Blue's Clues and all that kind of stuff without me having to go on Netflix or buying them or whatever, that'd be fantastic because I don't have cable. So I think that would be a cool addition. Next up, they had They had music. Xbox. Okay, this is where I kind of laughed at the conference. Not saying it was ridiculous. Well, kind of was. They were like, "We are now launching our new Xbox Music app, and it's going to be called Xbox Music." And I was
kind of anticlimactic there.
I was like, wow, you guys didn't think about that, did you?
Yeah.
Now, that's kind of cool, and I know they may be doing away with the Zune feature. I think they may be just going, for their own music channel and stuff like that, so we'll see how that comes out.
Yeah, I'd like to see more details about it. Is it going to be like Pandora, where it's free with advertisements or free with your subscription, or is it going to be a pay for each song type of deal?
Right. It could be kind of like Zune Marketplace in a way. So
yeah, that's
I'm
why.
wondering if it'll be like I'm wondering if it'll be like Spotify, where you have just like your whole library of songs, and you can just pick from whichever one you want at the time.
Right. Next up, Chris, you actually were kind of excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised at how interesting this looks to me. They're partnering up with Nike and Kinect, and they're going to have their own little fitness game. And
right.
It looks pretty interesting. Now,
I didn't really think it was all that great because I can just run around my little track outside my house, or do fitness at the gym because on the Air Force Base you get access to the gym there. So, but it is kind of cool for maybe rainy day or don't want to go out of the house. You could do fitness training on that as well. So
yeah, that, and they also have where you can kind of compete with your friends online and get better scores, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
which it's kind of following like Wii's Wii Fit, but without the little board and everything like that.
Yeah,
so.
and I think it's actually better for that.
You're right, because it uses the Kinect, and Kinect fully utilizes the camera in your body. It knows exactly where your foot is.
It watches you, and if you're not doing your exercises right, it'll kind of let you know, hey, you need to do this better, or you need to bend your knees more. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Huh. Now, this kind of surprised me at the conference because they were kind of doing, in the middle of the conference, they kind of just did all this tech stuff, updates to the Xbox, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised they did not announce a new Xbox. So, but they came out with this thing called Xbox Smart Glass. It is almost just like AirPlay for Apple iOS devices. Now, that's not a bad thing. It is a copycat in a way, but with more features. Now, I use AirPlay all the time with my Apple TV and my iPad and my Mac. And I use all those, but with the Xbox, they're giving you the smart glass video on all devices.
Yes, Android, iOS, anything that you've got, it'll work.
Especially on the Windows tablets, I'm guessing.
Right.
And they showed actually it using, it's kind of the same thing with if you have Apple TV or you've messed with AirPlay, you get to control the TV and Apple, the Apple TV with your iPad or your iPhone or whatever. And that's pretty cool. And you can play videos from the internet from your iPhone or iPad to your TV. It's the same concept with Smart Glass.
Now, I'm wondering if you can actually play your iOS games, like if I can play Infinity Blade using the Xbox thing.
I doubt that because I think that might get in some legal troubles, especially with Apple, but we'll see.
Well, I guess there are some third-party programs out there that you can AirPlay with. So I think
for like a Windows tablet, that might be a feature for that, but not Apple products. I guarantee that
Infinity
won't happen.
Blade would be more epic than Apple, really. So we could maybe see something, because if you remember back, it doesn't really make that much difference, but the first Infinity Blade was originally going to be a Kinect game, I believe, and they kind of just gravitated over to iOS. So we could see something.
I mean, that would be a cool feature if they added it.
Yeah.
But, I can do that on my Apple TV, so, they might be trapped in a legal battle if they try to do that kind of stuff with Apple stuff. I honestly don't see that happening, but you never know. But it was cool. It was a cool little thing they showed. Also, they're adding in, a web browser?
Yeah, Internet Explorer's coming to it. And of course, the jokes have already started. Will it let you download Firefox?
Now, Internet Explorer actually has gotten better on Windows computers. I still don't use it, but I know it has gotten better. With this, giving you a web browser on your Xbox is kind of cool. It's like for the living room, you get to use your voice for connect searches and all that kind of stuff. So now, I'm wondering what they're going to do for filters, because there's going to be there's probably going to be a bunch of kids trying to surf for porn on their Xbox or something. So,
well, I'm sure they're going to have parental settings, like what they have already on the system.
Yeah, they already have those. Man.
But I mean, I wonder how they maybe the parental settings are only you can't use a web browser, and you just have to make sure your kid's not doing that. So if you're listening and you have a kid, watch your kids when that comes out.
Yeah.
Next up, they started going back into the games on the conference, which I was like, okay, cool little middle portion. They spent a lot of time with all the updates and what they're going to be adding to Xbox and everything, which is fine. They showed Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
It looks pretty fun. It does.
It kind of reminds me of Uncharted.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of what I felt was like those time things where you got to hit buttons, quick time events. That's what it looked like a lot to me, though.
It's actually kind of ironic now that we're comparing Tomb Raider to Uncharted, because Uncharted pretty much drew its inspiration from Tomb Raider.
Right.
So I thought that's kind of funny.
It's all a circle. It's all connected.
It is. And then after that, they showed this Ascend New Gods. It's a hack and slash game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks a lot like God of War and maybe a little bit of Shadow of the Colossus. It's got the giant bosses and that sort of thing.
Yeah. It really, to me, it looked very unfinished and very early. It didn't really look like in production.
They didn't give it a release date or anything, so it's probably just a show off kind of what they do. And then after that, they showed this a weird teaser trailer, Loco Cycle.
Pretty much Kit in motorcycle form.
It's by Twisted Pixel, and it's supposed to be coming out in 2013, and there was no information on it. No information. It just looked like a motorcycle on the screen and them talking about something. So I listened to it. I just kind of, And then a weird robot puzzle game, I guess. I don't even know if it's a puzzle game. It's called Matter.
Mm-hmm. And it was like some ball, and there's some other things on the screen. It looked like a Portal type game, one of those type of puzzle games. Is what it looked like.
And then we had Resident Evil 6. Mm-hmm. We had Racketeer Connect and South Park. Stick of Truth? That looks fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can summon Mr. Slave. I mean, just for that, it's worth a buy.
And then after the Stick of Truth, there was not much information except like it was funny. Definitely watch the conference. We're kind of running through this because we got to cover everything. So, Dance Central 3. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a cool game concept for people that like dancing. But one portion that I will already let you know, not after the show, is they put Usher on there, and I was like, really?
Yeah. And it wouldn't have been so bad except he couldn't sing. He didn't sing right. It sounded horrible.
Yeah. I'm not against, them putting music on stuff like that, but it wasted a lot of time. It did.
Yeah.
And then the last thing they showed was gameplay footage of the single-player campaign of Black Ops 2, Call of Duty. And they showed off, the normal mission setup, and also a plane dogfighting segment where, I don't know, what was the last Call of Duty they did, like a little airplane thing?
I don't think they actually had where you could control a jet in any Call of Duty before.
I don't know if
they usually do that.
I don't know if he was actually controlling the jet, but
I think
it
he
looked
was.
like it. Yeah, it looked like
I
him.
believe he was flying it.
Yeah.
And shooting, and it was pretty cool for a single player to do that kind of thing. To actually let you control the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually you're doing like the gunner type stuff, and the plane's going on its own. This is pretty cool. I'm wondering if it'll show up in the multiplayer as like a kill streak award or something like that.
That would be cool.
And then I'm always looking at what they let you do in that. I mean, how open do they let you go? Do they let you just fly off if you wanted to?
They're already saying there's like campaigns open ending, and I saw some more footage later on of what they were doing in the campaign with that one mode. What's it called? We talked about it in that last podcast where you can warp into different soldiers, and the outcome of the battle will affect the game or whatever. So, next up on the conferences, it was a little bit of a break on Monday, but they grinded a lot of conferences, and they got the EA E3 Conference. Chris, why don't you go ahead and start us off with the EA stuff?
Yeah, they showed off a little bit of Dead Space 3, and I'm a little bit concerned. Like, I love the Dead Space series so much, but I'm worried that it's turning into just like a generic, kind of dude bro shooter type thing, as opposed to the original.
I don't know. I mean, like what I told Mike the other day. What if that I know they added co-op. What if that secondary dude is really just a figment of his imagination for the whole game?
Possible.
And it just ends at the end, and he disappears, and it's like, what?
I think that's what is going to happen, because I watched another interview that was talking about, and they said that you can play the game single player, and it acts just like all the other Dead Spaces, which is fine. And you can add in that co-op, and I think a guy at IGN even alluded to what you said, Alan, and I kind of laughed. I was like, wow, Alan guessed this immediately. So the guy didn't say anything about it, so we won't really know until we play it. Next up, they spent a lot of time on Madden 13 again, which was already on the Xbox conference. They kind of gave a layout of they're going to be doing like social networking with it.
In-game Twitter feed. It's not a real Twitter. It's a game Twitter. It's a fake Twitter.
Right.
For your players, which is kind of interesting, I guess.
It's kind of weird. It has like a social element. You can compete with friends. I guess kind of like that fantasy football, fantasy baseball, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Next up, they EA spent time on SimCity Social Network. It was a Facebook game. That's fine too.
They use that just as a segue to go into the SimCity game
right.
put on PC.
They're creating a new SimCity, which looked fun. I'm not a big fan of those, but they are going to incorporate multiplayer finally into SimCity. So,
which that could be interesting.
Now, Alan, this one's kind of cool. Why don't you go ahead and read that one off?
Yeah, they got Battlefield 3 they showed.
Premium.
Premium, yes. Battlefield 3 Premium. Pretty much elite.
You may be excited for this one. I don't know if I'm going to play it anytime soon, but...
Yeah, Star Wars Old Republic, they're talking about their new the new expansion or new content, and it looked really good. A lot of new stuff. A whole new planet. All kinds of cool stuff.
There's like a new race too, isn't there?
Yeah, the cat people. Wasn't it the cat people?
Yeah, it's I guess for all the people that like the animal kind of races, because they never gave it to you when you first played it, and a lot of MMOs do that. So
yeah,
it seems to be shaping up really nice. They're going out there for more content, and when it pops up, I'm pretty sure I'm going to agree to subscribe at least to play the new stuff.
In July, they will be making it free to play for the first 15 levels. Just letting you guys know that. So I think they're kind of hurting on the community. I know it was a wonderful game, but I think a lot of people started losing interest.
Mm-hmm. I think it's partly their linearity of the storyline. It doesn't split like Warcraft and stuff like that. They actually had a branching storyline, not storyline, but branching leveling system. You could run over to one continent and level all the way up to the high level if you wanted to, or you could do it on the other continent. Either faction. With Star Wars, you can't really do that. You're always the same path regardless. So I think that's why it lost a lot of people.
Yeah, you're pretty limited on the planets you can go to because it'll tell you right there in the little galaxy menu there, like this planet's for this level to this level, and then if you go anywhere else, either you're not getting experience because you're overpowered, or everything's going to kill you because you're too weak. So you're pretty limited there.
After that, they announced the new Medal of Honor Warfighter. It's using the same engine that Battlefield 3 is using. It looks pretty. It does. It's another shooter.
Business as usual.
Check out the trailer if you're interested in Medal of Honor games. I'm not too interested in them because the last one didn't do it for me, but it looked cool. They kind of had like a slow motion deal in it too on the single player campaign. Yeah. They did more FIFA advertising, and that is using a social network as well, a FIFA social network, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
and this is a real social network too. It's not like
it's like Facebook, but it's called Football Club Social Network for FIFA updates. And basically it's going to be for iPhone and iPad, and also Android of later this year. And it's going to be starting out, I think, immediately when FIFA 13 comes out. And also they showed like another trailer of FIFA, which we already saw in the Microsoft conference, right?
Yeah.
And then
big news.
Big news for UFC Ultimate Fighting. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I actually like UFC. It's pretty cool. I like watching it, anyways. The games I've never really touched, but EA is now partnered up with UFC, and that is actually really cool. That they partnered up with one of the biggest sports game developers. So,
yeah.
What else? Then we got they showed some gameplay footage for Need for Speed Most Wanted, a brand new Need for Speed. It actually looks really fun.
Great. It actually includes destructible cars, which is something you don't see that often. I heard a lot of people talking about it. A lot of car manufacturers don't want to see their cars destroyed, so they don't give people permission to put it in game. But for this game, I think from what I've heard, they've gotten a lot of permission to do that kind of stuff. So you get to see your car's hood blow off and things like that. So
that's awesome.
Should be kind of fun.
I'm really interested in the open world element that they've shown off. It looks really cool.
But it kind of reminds me of Burnout too. So that actually is going to be cool. And it has a release date is going to be October 30th. And the last part of EA's conference was Crysis 3. Now, Crysis 2 was an excellent game. I really enjoyed Crysis 1 because it was open world. Crysis 2
very, very, very open.
Crysis 2 turned into more of a linear way. It wasn't open. It wasn't a sandbox. And then Crysis 3, I think, is in the same way, but the graphics look really good, too. So.
And a lot of people have been saying, this is the E3 of bows this year. Who has the best bow? And Crysis 3 has a pretty sweet bow in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, EA's conference went okay. And after that, it was like another segment that day. There's another conference that day, believe it or not, called Ubisoft did it. And Ubisoft started off with showing Just Dance 4.
With Flow Rider.
With Flow Rider. And like I said, music's welcome, but it was unneeded. It was it took too much time out of the show, honestly.
And then the whole Ubisoft show was kind of a little strange with its
it was crude. It was crude.
It was, yeah. It was crude. I know we're gamers and we shouldn't care about this kind of stuff, but it was shockingly crude. It was like you expected it to be a little more professional than it was.
I'm glad my daughter wasn't in the room for half the stuff they played on there, and I'll tell you why. Because the next trailer they showed of gameplay was Far Cry 3. Oh wow! Now Far Cry 3
exposed women.
They had a naked woman on there, and she was doing weird things, if you get my drift. And then they showed gameplay and a lot of F-bombs and a lot of whatever. It looked phenomenal, though. The gameplay looked phenomenal. It's just, they could have warned, I guess, audiences with it. Yeah. And they kind of warned later on in the show after they realized they kind of messed up with that. But the host of it, she was saying really ridiculous things like, I have female wood and all this other stuff for these video games. And it was a crude...
She was really, really pushing the envelope there with the kind of sexual jokes. It was kind of off-putting, actually.
It was.
Yeah, and she didn't pull them off in a nice, funny way. She ended up sounding mean half the time, at least to me she did. She's like making fun of poor Toby the whole time.
But besides all that, the conference was going pretty well after that. Far Cry 3 was the shocker. Everyone was like, oh, wow, that looks good, but wow, you guys are shocking. Splinter Cell Blacklist, a trailer for that. That looks great.
Yeah, it looks so fun.
If you're a fan of the last Splinter Cell, what was it?
Conviction.
It's going to have co-op and you name it. It's going to have a really good storyline, same stuff. It's going to be taking place in the Middle East, like Iraq and stuff like that.
Yeah, they showed a little bit of gameplay in the Xbox convention. The Xbox conference, and it looks really, really good. Like they brought back the mark and execute system. It looks a lot smoother than it was in the Conviction.
And they're bringing back old multiplayer modes and everything, which is great.
Yes, a lot the fans of the Spies versus Mercs from Splinter Cell 3, I believe, it's making a comeback, and I'm really excited for it.
They announced Marvel, or they're making a Marvel game, Avengers Battle for Earth.
Yeah, kind of like a Diablo style thing.
Little teaser, and that's gonna just be, it was basically a CG teaser. That was it. No gameplay.
But they do say it's gonna be on Wii U. We gotta say that.
Yes. Now the next one was the first showing of a Wii U game, and they showed Rayman Legends for Wii U,
which looks fun. Looks like a good party game.
It looks very quirky, and it looks very, generic.
Everything you expect from a Rayman game.
But,
quirky, yet generic, yet fun.
But 5 people can play it on that system.
Yes. 2 touchpads, the game pads, and then everybody else can have Wii remotes. So they're probably, I think I saw one person up there actually using the Pro Pad.
Right.
Little Pro game pad, so.
And they showed the Pro Pad on the screen, too, showing you, hey, tilt this way or whatever, so...
Well,
so
that's the
gonna be
gamepad. Cool. The Pro Pad's the one that looks like an Xbox controller.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then Ubisoft went hardcore into Wii U stuff, and I mean they're a big developer for Wii U, which I think is great. The next game they showed after that was this game called Zombie U. Now, I was not entirely sure what I was seeing on the trailer, and it is a survival horror game that kind of later on, I heard it kind of reminds people of Dark Souls with the griefing system. If you die, you die.
Yeah, one bite, you're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, the most you get is a shake system. You get bit, you get grabbed, you can shake them off, but that's about it. If you're stuck in a mob, you're gone.
Right, and they only showed a little teaser for that on this conference because I think they want to save the rest for Nintendo.
Yeah, they showed a lot more gameplay in the Nintendo conference.
Ubisoft has a list of, you can look them up on their site, but they're going to be making a crap load of Wii U games. I mean, I'm talking a bunch, including Assassin's Creed 3.
Yep, and we'll talk more about the Wii U version of that when we get to the Wii U.
Assassin's Creed 3 is going to be on Xbox, PS3, PC, and Wii
U. Yes.
Now, the one they showed at the Ubisoft conference was not the Wii U one because they were saving stuff, So... They played it on the PlayStation 3. It looks great. It looks awesome. It shows. It has a questing system. It showed kind of like Chris, you played Red Dead Redemption, right?
Yes.
It has apparently a hunting mode in, like you could do in Red Dead Redemption. It has a what's it called? It had actual snow footage. Like you actually leave footprints in the snow. Like I'm not talking a basic footprint.
Step through snow drifts, waist high, and crunch through the top layer like you really have to do if you're walking through snow.
So they're really pushing for graphics, and it's going to be set in early America with, when the British and, early Americans were fighting each other. So that looks great. And there's more on it with the Wii U stuff that I actually want to talk about. So the next one was a free... first-person shooter game they're going to be doing by the same makers of Trackmania.
Yeah.
It's called Shoot Mania. Who didn't see that coming?
It's more for the sports community.
Right. It is a arena-based game, kind of like Quake 3 Arena. Now, it looks pretty fun. They spent a little too much time showing how people battle off in a league or something, but it was cool.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that Counter-Strike champions are still a thing because when they were announcing the teams that were fighting each other in that whole thing.
Yeah, they haven't made a game that's specifically targeted at esports in so long that they're still stuck back on those. So Shoot Mania is meant to be for them. It has a level editor in it, everything. Interesting is they don't have guns. You have your gun is on your wrist and you shoot out plasma at people and stuff. And you don't even kill people. There's no blood. There's none of that extra bodies laying around on the screen slowing it down. It's built for precision, speed, and so you just disappear when you die. So it's built for esports, but it still should be pretty fun.
Yeah, the game type they showed was actually pretty cool. I thought it had one person has a railgun, which is Quake fans know it's like one hit instant kill. And then he's going up by himself against a team of 3 who all have rocket launchers.
Yep.
And the person with the railgun has to either capture a certain point on the map or kill the other team. And if he gets hit with 3 rockets, he's done.
Well, actually, it's 2 shots where the rocket actually kill you.
Was it 2? I thought it was 3.
2 shots kill you, but they do have a splash effect. So, I mean, of course, the way splash effects usually work, the further away from it, the less damage you take. So, but a good hit of it is 2 life points, and you have 3. So, 2 shots, you're gone.
Also, Ubi showed off free-to-play games among that in their conference. I don't have really a list of them. It was just a bunch of social networking ones and free-to-play ones. The next one was a big surprise. It actually was the big shocker of E3, and I'll go ahead and let you know that earlier on. But it was a game called Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was beyond words, and it was probably one of the most amazing gameplay videos I saw. So.
Definitely picking it up.
Check it out. I'm not going to explain it. Maybe we'll do it on a video podcast kind of explaining. We'll post the YouTube video up there while we're watching it or something. Next up was Sony. Sony. I was actually kind of shocked at how Sony handled it. So we started off with a game by the developer of Heavy Rain.
Yep, Beyond Two Souls.
Now, the character is named Jodie Holmes, and the actor being played is Ellen Page, which is pretty cool. So we'll see more on that, and it looked just kind of like Heavy Rain with the gameplay for them. Well, not really. They didn't show gameplay; it was a CG sequence, but it looks amazing. The facial animations, everything, awesome.
It seems to be some kind of supernatural magic, fighting spirit thing.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with like a ghost or something and supernatural stuff. I don't know.
She has like psychic powers, so it'll be cool.
PlayStation kind of did a lot of talking too. After that, they start talking about their PlayStation commercial that, like Michael, the whole PlayStation. I want to be to Michael or whatever, so. Yeah. To me, They talked about that, but then they dove right into what kind of, what PlayStation's meanings were and everything like that. So, or Sony's agendas. And then the next up, they showed off PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Which was cool.
Now, Chris, we talked about that last time. And
yeah, and it a lot of people are saying, oh, it just looks like a Smash Brothers ripoff and it's just the same. And I don't really see that as a bad thing because Smash Brothers is really fun, but it does have its differences. Like, you're not trying to, just knock people out of the ring. You have to build up your little meter, and you can only kill your opponents with like a super attack. So it has its differences. And at the end of that whole thing, they showed off 2 new characters. Well, they didn't show them off, but they kind of announced them. They showed off Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series and Big Daddy from BioShock, which I thought was pretty surprising.
Yeah. They showed some gameplay off, and it looked really fun. And also, on top of that, if you're a Vita owner, you can actually play with the PlayStation 3 crowd.
Yep.
So if you have a friend that has a PlayStation 3 and you only have a Vita, you can play with that person. So awesome, Sony. And next up, they kind of talked about cross-play and cross-saves again like they did last year. There's supposed to be a new Little Big Planet update that's supposed to be using the Vita as a controller. Also, Sony talked about PlayStation Plus again this year and actually offered an amazing deal this month. You can get free games like Infamous 2, Little Big Planet, Saints Row, and what else? A bunch more. Warhammer, Space Marines, all for free if you subscribe to PlayStation Plus, which is like $17.99 for 3 months and $50 for what, 12 months?
Yeah, I think it's like $5 for 1 month if you want to do one at a time.
No, they don't have that option on Sony.
Oh, they don't do that?
No, it's about
it's basically, it's like $5 a month if you pay, bought it for like, $50 or whatever.
Right.
So. I don't know what it is. But anyways, it's pretty cheap.
Vita is getting YouTube, Hulu, Crackle. It's also getting Call of Duty Black Ops Classified version.
That may be pretty cool. Portable Call of Duty, for all the fans.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, a special version for the Vita, which is pretty cool. Of course, I'll have a bundle edition with that where you get the Vita and the Assassin's Creed 3.
Oh, they showed a gameplay trailer of Assassin's Creed 3 on a boat. That was amazing.
Yes.
And I'm not being sarcastic about this at all. It actually was the coolest scene I've saw.
Yeah, in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen a ship battle like that in a video game in quite some time, if at all. It's
They showed some more of Far Cry 3, and they did a special announcement. I don't know if it's just for PlayStation. I doubt it, but 4-player co-op while playing it. So,
Yep.
And it's actually different from the actual single-player game. So
it's a separate game.
It's like a whole new game plus the single-player game, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've also got a map editor as well.
Right. Map editor, and that was actually, they had the map editor on Far Cry for the consoles as well, which is kind of neat for multiplayer. They spent some time talking about the PlayStation Move and new support with the PlayStation Move, and they spent a lot of time talking about this new J.K. Rowling interactive book that's using the iCam and the Move, which I guess is cool for, families and stuff like that. But I didn't see any appeal in it for myself.
Yeah,
so.
I think it would be really good for kids.
They also talked about the new HTC non-Sony phone is going to have the PlayStation Suite on there, meaning they're going to be putting PlayStation-certified games on different phone devices.
Yeah, and they've actually renamed it. It's called PlayStation Mobile now.
Yep.
Yeah.
The last bit of the Sony conference was God of War Ascension, which was awesome if you like God of War. Now, it's a standard hack-and-slash game, but if you really like their storylines, it's pretty cool. Now, I'm a little confused on this. Is this a prequel, Chris?
Yes, I think it takes place either before God of War 1 or right after 1. I'm not sure.
It had to be right after 1, I'm thinking, because he has those cursed chains on his arms with his daggers.
Yeah.
And that was not a part of pre-God of War.
Well,
so,
I thought he got those from Ares, didn't he? When he
did
his little deal with him, he got his little chains.
At the beginning of God of War 1.
But they did talk about how this is the evolution of him, because they show us one scene in the gameplay trailer where he's actually pushing a person out of the way, and they made reference to the fact that in the later games, or the games that are already out, there's a scene where instead of saving a guy, he actually just kills him.
Okay.
And so it's like an evolution of his personality and how he changes the man he is.
Maybe it's kind of that, kind of like the PSP games that kind of went in between the games, and it's like a combination of everything. I don't know. It looks good, though. It is going to have multiplayer. They didn't show that off, but there's videos out there. Now, the end of Sony was awesome. I didn't expect this. I remember hearing about this game. It's a post-apocalyptic zombie game called Last of Us.
Oh,
now,
man.
What did you guys think of that game?
I thought it was brutally amazing.
Oh man, definitely that one and Watch Dogs are going to be the games to watch.
Right. Now, Last of Us is made by Naughty Dog, same people that made Uncharted, so it's very Uncharted-like. So.
The environments just remind you of it totally, except for in a more of a cityscape.
After this podcast, go and look at Last of Us, the video. You will be pleasantly surprised, especially if you're a Sony user. So, next up, we had Nintendo.
Kind of, honestly, I will say this right up from the bat. Their conference was a little bit of a letdown.
It was.
Well, see, I thought it was actually pretty good because, they didn't show a whole lot of games this time. But, last year when they first unveiled the Wii U, they didn't really show that much of anything. They kind of just told you, like, bare bones, hey, this is coming out. This is kind of what it's going to do. This year, they gave us a little bit more info on, what the controller is capable of and, like, how everything kind of works together.
Right.
And
We'll get to all that soon. Now, I was disappointed at the very beginning and pretty much halfway through of Nintendo. I'll let you know that. But my opinion changed. So
yeah.
we'll let our listeners know after the very end of our show. So we started off with them talking about the Wii U and showing off the gamepad, the touch screen, and I was like, the hardware is there, it's cool, And then they showed Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 hasn't been done since GameCube, right?
Yeah, actually, wasn't there a version on Wii?
No Wii
No,
version.
I guess the 1 and 2 was on both on GameCube then, huh?
Right.
Okay.
Now,
9 years.
I actually was pretty shocked at not announcement of Pikmin 3. That's, I figured Nintendo would do their normal routine. But the graphics looked phenomenal on that thing. Very kind of bubble 3D, 3D animation, and it's very clean cut. But the textures on the leaves and textures on the ground made me just realize that the Wii is pretty powerful already,
Very powerful.
Now, you can use all controllers with Pikmin 3, apparently. The Wii controllers, the gamepad, and also the gamepad Pro, whatever. Now, after they spent some time with the gameplay trailer, which is really cool, Chris, did you like the Pikmin games at all back in GameCube?
Well, I actually never played the Pikmin games, but this one looks pretty interesting, I'd have to say.
Okay.
Like I like what they're doing with the map that you have on your gamepad screen.
Right.
It kind of goes along with what's going on the actual game. I thought it looked pretty cool.
It's kind of RTS feeling.
Yeah, I kind of got a little StarCraft vibe from it.
Yeah, the game was originally like that in the first place.
Yeah.
It's just they're doing some more elements with that. After that, they started going into the Wii U, what apps it's going to be using, and they've confirmed Hulu, YouTube, and Amazon Video, and there is going to be more. So
yeah, it seems to be that they're going in a completely right direction, but completely opposite direction of the Wii.
Right.
They're totally going back on the path they should have been going with the Wii, and trying to bring everybody back into the fold, not just the casual. They want to bring everybody together.
They're giving us media apps for multimedia for the system. They're giving us video games, and also they'll be giving us third-party games. But after they kind of they confirmed, what was it, that the game or the Wii U will support 2 gamepads now. Last year, they announced that it would only support 1, and that kind of, what?
Yeah, definitely good news. And also, the gamepad looks a lot better now than it did before when they first showed it off.
Yep, 2 joysticks now instead of those little thumb pad things.
Yes, and they also moved around a lot of the face buttons a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then also they talked about this new mode. It's a social network, another social network. What a surprise!
Yeah,
that seemed like the talk of this conference so far. Full E3 conference.
Mm-hmm.
Miiverse actually is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Alan, why don't you go ahead and explain it?
Yeah, Miiverse is basically like I want to call it more of a Twitter feed, but it's categorized by games. So say you're playing Super Mario Brothers 2 or whatever, or 3, whatever number they're on now, and you post a message, I got to level 3 in 10 minutes. Well, your friend will see that message pop up in their game, and so it kind of gives a competitive edge to it. You can compete against each other. It also allows you to leave notes, kind of like, Demon Souls and stuff. Hey, watch out on level 4. There's a big thump there, or Hammer Brothers or something that's going to eat you alive, and you can avoid it. And even the home screen of the Wii U allows you to see these messages pop up at random intervals for all these other games that are out there. And it allows you to see what's trending, what's hot. It'll quickly allow you to see what's the best game out there.
Next up, they showed Super Mario Brothers U with Miiverse and the functionality of Miiverse, which we've just talked about. So. They showed four-player co-op mode with it, which is pretty cool. And the gamepad kind of helped out characters too. And
yeah, I think one person has the gamepad and can drop like platforms and stuff like that, and then the other person can use it.
Kind of like the Rayman game that they were doing.
Yeah.
Or they could be totally mean, and if there's like 3 players, the one putting the pads down could totally block the other player.
Yeah.
Next up, they had Batman Arkham City Armored Edition shown off using the gamepad and what the new features are.
Yeah, this is something I'm really excited about. It looked really cool how they're using the screen with the different gadgets and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. It actually fixed the Batarang horrible playing. I'm sorry, but I never could control that thing with the controller.
And it seemed pretty legit. I mean, it looks like they're doing a good job translating what the game does to the Wii U pad.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it'll have all the DLC that's come out for it, like like recently they had Harley Quinn's Revenge or something. I'm wondering if that's all going to be in there with it.
I'm sure it is. It's going to be almost when's the Wii U might be coming out this holiday season, it said.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Arkham City will have everything in it.
Yeah. I'm probably going to wait until that then.
Yeah, same here. Next game they showed was Scribblenauts.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think of that game?
I thought it was interesting. It looked a bit young for me personally, but I thought it was a cool game. It's a cool concept.
Cool concept. A little gimmicky, but it was cool.
Yeah. I played the first Scribblenauts on the DS when it first came out, and it was a cool concept, but it was a little bit broken. Like the object is you try to put whatever words to get the star at the end of the level. You could cheat and just write, hey, star, and then collect that because it'll appear right in front of you and just beat all the levels that way.
That's funny.
And I think with Super Scribblenauts, they added adjectives and stuff to make it a little bit more in-depth. And this new one is even crazier with the customization that you can do. That was really impressive. And
you use your imagination to play that game.
Yeah.
They made sure to say that, too. That was pretty funny. Next up, they have a whole list of Wii U supported game third-party titles. Darksiders 2. Mass Effect 3.
Yep.
A game called Tank. They also announced Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
Oh, man. That looked hilarious. They had Heihachi and whoever else he was fighting, I don't remember, but like a mushroom came out from Mario, and Heihachi grabbed it, and he got huge, and
then he stepped
was
on the
punching
other
the other
dude. They also have Train 2 Director's Cut. Ninja Gaiden 3. And
which actually had blood in it. It was a mature looking game on a Nintendo system.
And then they had Aliens Colony Marines, was that it?
Yeah.
Which was they have a lot of third party support so far. In my opinion. Especially like if EA's on board with Mass Effect 3, I wonder if Battlefield's gonna be on the system, man.
I wouldn't put it past them.
And what if they put like 64-player battles like the PC version? What if it is equal to the PlayStation or PC version of it? I'll be excited.
That would just be insane.
Looking at the stats on the Wii system that we've seen, they're unconfirmed right now, but looking at what they've seen, it could do it. It really could.
Next up, they had a whole segment devoted to the Wii Fit. The Wii Fit U, it's called.
With a new pedometer calorie counter attachment you can wear and then upload through the gamepad, which was
it just seems like it's just going to be using the old Wii stuff for the most part. So it's pretty much just like Wii Fit, but a little more extra version of it, which is kind of cool. Yeah. They announced Sing, a new game. It's like karaoke for the Wii U.
Yeah.
Definitely a bunch of party games on it.
Yeah.
All right, for 3DS games, Chris, why don't you go ahead and read it off?
Yeah, they went over a new Super Mario Brothers game. I think it's, what was it called? Super Mario Brothers Gold or something like that. Yeah, completely focused on gold, like gold coins everywhere. And I think you're
enemies into gold. And
yeah, basically you're trying to get as much gold as possible.
And a new Paper Mario called Sticker Star.
Yes.
I'm excited about. I'll say it. I want it.
Paper Mario is an RPG again. I'm happy.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm happy.
Gameplay, they showed gameplay footage of it, and it looked pretty good. It's going to be coming out this holiday season.
And then they had new Luigi's Mansion coming out, which is pretty cool, I think. I like the first game a lot. I don't know if you guys ever played it.
Yeah, I did. It was amazing.
Castlevania, Epic Mickey, Power of Illusion, and Scribblenauts again. And a big one I'm kind of excited for the 3DS, I'm going to steal my wife's 3DS just for it, is Kingdom Hearts 3D. Next up, I was actually really surprised, and I kind of wanted it after I saw it. It's called Lego City Undercover. It looked like Grand Theft Auto / Lego.
Yeah, basically. That's pretty much what it was.
Now, it looked like it had like a kind of a crime-solving thing, like a noir kind of feel. I don't know what they were doing with it. It looked cool though.
Yeah.
Something kind of surprised me a little bit though. Like there was one scene where he was fighting some dude. It was like a scene out of the Matrix, and the Lego dude got kicked in his junk. I was pretty surprised by that.
Yeah.
Next off, Ubisoft stole the show again.
Yeah, they were
not really stole the show, but they showed off Just Dance 4, Zombie U again. And they showed actual like footage out of it. It looked great.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy, this game. So much stuff. There's like a radar kind of thing. You can tell where your zombies are on your little gamepad screen. They have like a scanning mode, kind of like from the Metroid Prime games. And you got to be careful scanning because zombies will jump out at you. And that actually kind of startled me a little bit watching the trailer. I was pretty surprised by that. They got sniping mode and inventory hacking, all kinds of cool stuff.
And of course, they announced Assassin's Creed 3 on there and showed some gameplay. U-Shape, Rayman Legends, Sports Connection, Avengers Battle for Earth, whatever. So, that pretty much wrapped it up, except their special surprise, which was a big letdown for me, was their Nintendo Land. That's their special surprise at the show. And usually I'm thinking, wow,
I actually thought it was kind of cool. Like it had a Mario Party vibe. And what I thought was really cool about it is how, like they announced before, you have your one person with the gamepad, and then the other people use the Wii remotes. And like when you play a Mario Party game, for instance, typically you have your 4 players, and then the computer plays as like a boss character that's trying to mess with you or something.
Right.
The person with the gamepad is actually playing that disruptor character. Like they showed off Luigi's Mansion 1. Each person had the Wii remotes running around trying to catch the ghost, and then the guy with the gamepad was the ghost, and it was basically like a Mario Party game.
It's gonna be social too, like online play and play with your friends, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't really go into their online stuff, but that was the end of the Nintendo show. Now, there was actually some more facts. Right after that, they actually posted some specs of the Wii U. Now, these are all confirmed. The one Alan was talking about earlier was unconfirmed.
Yeah, it was basically based on a dev kit, which you never see the dev kit come to the release. So
on Nintendo's All Access E3 site, which they were, that's where most of their information's coming from now, not the E3 conference. Their CPU is going to be IBM Power based multi-core processor, and there's no information on that. There's just rumors. The GPU is going to be AMD Radeon based high definition GPU. The storage is going to be using flash memory, also an SD memory, and also an external USB storage if you want.
Yeah.
Media will be Wii U and Wii optical discs.
So it's going to have backwards compatibility with other Wii games.
Right, and also downloadable content, downloadable games. Apparently you're going to be able to buy digital copies, just like on Steam.
Yep.
Networking, same, normal network, wireless adapter in it and everything like that. Also, it's going to have USB 2.0 connections, and there's 4 of them. And it is almost nearly compatible with almost every Wii accessory that you have right now in your house if you own a Wii.
Yep.
HDMI, and it's going to be running at 1080p, all resolutions that you see in normal.
The only connections it has to your TV, though, are HDMI or component. So that means it's going to be at least an HD on every TV.
Right. Now that everyone knows the Wii U specs, since that was actually the big piece of technology at E3. There's no other new consoles. There's no anything else. That's what we got for the specs. But what did you guys think was the strongest E3 conference? At E3, I'm talking about all of them. I'm talking about Microsoft, EA, Ubi, Sony, and Nintendo. Which one do you think was the strongest?
Yeah, personally, I think EA and Ubisoft were on the top. Okay, I don't want to categorize them as one or two. I don't think I can, because they're both good in their own way, and both had their bad points. Then you had, after that, I would say Sony with its really nice surprises. And then I'd go Microsoft and Nintendo. Nintendo had some good stuff, but I think Reggie was just a little bit too nervous personally, and I think he messed up their presentation a little bit with his little standing around and talking to everybody.
Yeah, the show was mostly talking without showing, and they did show a lot, but they didn't show enough.
Yeah, not during the conference. After the conference, they showed a whole bunch of stuff.
I thought the only conference that I actually physically enjoyed, and they also just took over E3, was Ubisoft. I honestly think Ubisoft stole the show, only because they had the most content out there, not because of their cheesy presentation. Their conference was cheesy and horrible, but the games, the gameplays, everything, and them being on almost every single conference for Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft was amazing. They, to me, stole the show. Next up came Sony. I enjoyed seeing a few of those games, but it was not a groundbreaking, oh my god, this show is amazing. And out of Microsoft, I just didn't enjoy. I really didn't enjoy that one. Nintendo's I enjoyed for the most part if it wasn't for the fact that they spent so much time talking. I would like to see the hardware. That was the cool portion. Not the games, it's the hardware.
Well, for me, like between EA and Ubisoft, definitely Ubisoft. I mean, like we said, their conference was just painful to watch. Just the host tried way too hard to be funny, and then if you watch the conference, you'll see nobody laughs at all. It's just horrible. Games-wise, the games look amazing.
They actually showed enough games at Ubisoft.
Yeah, they showed plenty of games. I'm so excited for Assassin's Creed 3. Now, with the big three, we got Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft. Up until Nintendo's conference, I was kind of leaning towards Microsoft being the winner with, you know, their new tech stuff that they're kind of going with this year. But then I watched Nintendo's conference, and I've got to say I'm more excited for Nintendo stuff. I think they are kind of out of the big three. I think they're the top ones for this year.
See, I wasn't excited about Nintendo's conference, like Alan was saying. I was actually excited after their conference when they did their all access pass, you know, E3 pass for, I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff, Chris. We can probably do a video podcast talking about all their stuff they're covering, because they're going to have something today and tomorrow and whatever. But I was not impressed by their conference, but I was impressed with everything after that. I was impressed by their specs. I was impressed by gameplay. I saw gameplay for Assassin's Creed 3 on the Wii U. Looked awesome. I saw hands-on footage of the Zombie game with the gameplay, like extensive gameplay. Looked really good, too. Yeah. Honestly, I think Nintendo did win, but I don't think they won the conference win of, you know, hosting the best conference. I think Ubisoft did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm just going through like with the main three companies, though,
right?
Like with that.
But it's sad when a company that just makes games destroyed the other competition.
Yeah, but like judging from like how excited I get from one particular company, I think that I haven't really gotten too excited about anything Microsoft has come up, but they pretty much converted me. I'm pretty excited about the Wii U now from what Nintendo's shown off this year.
And I was all against getting the Wii U because I was like, I don't really want to play it. It doesn't look like it's going to be appealing. I don't like the controller. And that was from last E3. This E3, I'm sold.
Yeah, I was afraid of it. I mean, honestly, I was afraid of it because I didn't expect the third party support. And when Ubisoft stepped out on that stage and said, "Look at what we got," I was like, I'm throwing money at the screen when I get it.
You can look forward to all of us getting that console most likely on release so we can all review it, which is going to be kind of weird if we all get it, but whatever. Hey. Well, that comes to the conclusion of our show. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us talk about E3. If you haven't caught any of the videos, make sure you check them out. Also, we're going to be doing some video podcasts this weekend in order to get as much information about E3 as possible and our thoughts. So make sure you follow us on YouTube, also Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Also, join our Steam group. We'll game with you, and you might even win some prizes. Who knows? All right, well, thanks for listening, and see you next week. As we end today's show, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Elmore Coast Productions, and our sponsors. If you have any rants, comments, or questions about our show, please email me, Michael Buffington, at techearthsyndicate@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and please don't drink and drive. The life you may save may be your own. Till next time, Technical Earth Syndicate, signing off.